Alright, here we are in the back underneath, looking at the tail lights, the wiring, all tucked up, taken care of. So yeah, this part's all done. I still have to mount this little guy here, which is laser detection, I believe. So I want to say pretty much done back here. I got my reverse lights working. Come back over here. Right in here we got the reverse switch, and it wasn't making a connection. So I took it out and talked to Mendiola, and he said the tolerances are real tight, so I'll just put it back in. Maybe give it a little bit more of a turn, which I did, and what do you know, it worked. So sealed up the threads, put it back in. Now here we got the front wiring, which I'm doing right now, and I've been sitting and staring at this, trying to find out a good spot for the harness, you know, in a good spot to put the jump over, you know, the spot where the wires come from the chassis to the hood itself, because that moves a lot. So if I were to take the wires and run, you know, from over there up to the headlight, it's a lot of movement from here down to here when that hood shuts. Even from here to here, there's a lot of movement. Basically, this spot right here moves the least. That's a pretty good pivot point where it doesn't change, so I'm probably going to run across right to there, and there'll be very little movement at that spot for that bridge, you know, that wire. I won't have to do much to it compared to a different spot. You'd have to allow for the movement. Anyway, right here what you see is a ground harness. I want to run nice heavy ground wires to these headlights, to the road lights. So I'll make a ground harness, and then I'll start running the power wires which are all bundled up, coming out right here. And I gotta mount the camera and the 3 different sensors up front yet. Oh, and by the way, I did get that piece for the window. So I got window up and down both sides now, all working real good. And what else did I handle? Anyways, moving right along. Not really hung up on anything at the moment. Okay, now here we got most of the wires routed, and I'm going to go ahead and put some of the covering over the wires, because I want to get this stuff tied down where it belongs before I start connecting ends. Make sure I got enough room here. And then this is where I'm going to put my sensors for the radar, and I also got the backup camera over there. And then I got the tow hook right here. So that little grill is stuffed, full of stuff. Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and try these little command hooks. We're sticking on the underside of the hood here and then zip tying that harness to it. If those don't work, I know there's another kind I can get with a bigger surface area that'll stick on there. But this bed liner stuff I put on here, this stuff's actually urethane paint, basically textured. Anyway, that stuff will stick good to it as long as it's big enough to catch enough surface area because of the bumps. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. And then get those lights wired up. There it is, all done. Pretty much. I got to mount the grill and the sensors and the camera. But the lights are all in. Or they all wired, all done, and working. So that's pretty good. I had to use a different type of membrane on the back of these things, get that to stick. Who knows if that's still gonna be okay or not. We'll find out if it falls off. And there it is, lit up. That's high beams with the road lights on. And there's low beams. Yeah, it looks good. Got some action on this thing finally. Got off my butt. Get the wiring done. Everything is working all together. Imagine that. Happy, so moving along. Well, next thing I'm going to do here is get this latch hooked up. The release cable hooked up for the latch, I should say. And then had to figure out a way to mount that thing. It's got a little hole right here, and I couldn't figure out how exactly that's supposed to hook up through that hole. So I'm going to use one of these U-bolts here and just poke holes through here and bolt that on through the back, cinch that cable down, and then hook on here. So I'll cut that little ear off right here. And then I'll paint this thing, it looks like, because it's wanting to rust a little bit, so we'll take care of that. And then beyond that, kind of made up a list of what I need to do to finish this thing. So this is just everything on the outside, and then once I get this done, I got the interior left. So a little nitpicking things, close out panels, make sure everything's seam sealed, put the little screen that I made, the vents, gas lid, finish the latch, the glass. I still need to put the coating on this panel, this closeout panel for the radiator, get that installed. So yeah, just a short list of things here, along with the interior. If I can knock some of that stuff off the list. Got the glass in, and I got the hatch latch, the release cable hooked up. And let's see here. It is heavier than used to be, but yeah, looks real good. It's in there, and it came out just fine. Kind of strange shaped compared to the hatch. It's kind of a challenge getting that thing where it sits in the hole proper. Those are spacers that I had to keep the center of it pushed up while I pulled the end of it down over there. But it's kind of nice seeing that glass in there for the first time. And here's how I did the cable. Underneath the body, the cable comes around here, and I got it glued to the underside of the body. That's what that tape's for, holding the cable there. I'll probably take that tape off now. But yeah, then I got it fished through the body here. It does kind of like a Z bend. And I got fire protection, heat protection on that cable right there. And then I got it pinned down with the U-bolt, and then into the latch itself. So that came out pretty slick. Looks pretty good like that. So I'll get that tape off there and make sure that, actually I'm going to leave it there. That seam sealer, that urethane, isn't dry yet. So we'll let that sit there another day. So yeah, knocking things off the list. There's the wiper. Got that done. Installed, working, ready to go. And remember, this is a low profile version, because the way I got the hood mounted, sinking this down quite a bit. I've got that really tight up against the windshield. There's barely enough gap in there for the wiper, and I actually had to bend the wiper also, and I had to clearance the hood a little bit right there. So custom. But yeah, that works. And I ordered, I'm not sure what the book says as far as hooking up the squirter, but I ordered a squirter relocation kit. So basically you run the hose up the wiper arm, and then the squirter actually squirts down at the wiper blade. So I'll get that hooked up. I found some good membrane for my harness mounts, and so I redid every one of those little things one by one. So that's ready. Right there I'm going to mount a light, cargo light, type thing, which is coming in the mail. And so I think pretty much everything's done up front except for finding a final location for that radar stuff, and then actually getting that grill powder coated. And what do we got back here? Got the glass done, hatch is done, waiting on the grills. Waiting on the grills here. Waiting to put this glass in. Make sure I got a final on my interior. I got a guy coming Saturday morning to take a look at these interior pieces and give me a quote for recovering that stuff. And I put the splitter, or I mean the diffuser up here. Made sure it was still going to fit, which it does. And kind of figuring out a location for this laser shifter. It's a bummer. I want to put it right here in the middle, but one of those posts is right there. And I'm not sure if having that post right in the middle of that thing will interfere. So if anybody knows, you know, go ahead and comment on my video. Let me know if you think that'd be okay if I mounted that right here behind that post. A little bit, not quite as thick as my finger. It would be poking up right there through the middle. It's got a little bubble window right here. You know, maybe put it off to the side a little bit. So I haven't researched that yet. If anyone thinks that'll be good, I'll put that right there. If not, I don't really want to put it off to the side in between, because there's going to be a post here, post here, post here. I don't know. If I had to, I'd definitely put one here and then one here. But since I got one, it just seemed weird. So what I kind of figured, in these, in between those vents, the thing just barely fits right in here, poking out through those vents. So I'm thinking about sticking it right in there. Which would be, put it, you know, about right here, distance from the plate. And I think with the laser shifter you want it as close to the plate as possible. So I don't know if anybody knows about these things. Make some comments for me. Let me know what you think. And then also up front here, maybe give me some comments. The two laser shifters on the front I'll mount right here in the grill. That's no big deal. What I'm wondering about is the radar. I've been told that that will read through fiberglass. My worry is I'm not sure how thick the fiberglass is on the nose of this thing. And you know, I'm envisioning that being, you know, at least a half an inch thick. You know, and who knows, maybe more. So what are your thoughts on as far as would I be okay to mount that underneath the hood and not try to shine it through that grill? And you know, is it fine reading through, you know, let's pretend 3/4 inches of fiberglass? If so, right there is where I'll mount that thing. And that means I'll get those pieces off to the powder coater, that front grill and then the back grill. We'll make those shiny black. And getting close. to being done. Got a car show. I'd like to put this thing in, which I think is like February 6th, February 8th or something. So yeah, we'll see what happens.